What's up guys, ModernMiner here. I know I haven't put out a video in a little while. I've been kind of drawing a blank on content and ideas and such. So I'm hoping to get more videos out, probably do a little more coin roll hunting sometime soon. But today I wanted to talk about the 1982 penny and why it is so important. So for starters, 1982 was the transition year from copper to zinc. Nowadays, pennies are just made of copper plated zinc, and 1982 and earlier, they were made out of 95% copper, 5% being tin and zinc. Some pennies from 1982 are copper, some are zinc. The majority are copper. The reason I mention that is I myself hoard copper pennies, you could say hoard, I guess, for their copper value, as copper pennies are worth, rounded off to 2 cents a piece. If you had one copper penny, it'd be worth about 1.74 cents. And my collection currently is about, it's going to be well over 15,000 pennies. So that brings the value up to over $260, which is why I do it in the first place. But back to the pennies, there are many different varieties of the 1982 penny in both copper and zinc. So as this folder pretty much explains it, you have the copper large date, the copper small date, you have the zinc large date, the zinc small date, the 82D copper large date, the 82Z zinc large date, and the 82D zinc small date. You'll notice that there is no 82D copper small date. There is at least one example of that does exist, but it is incredibly rare. Now, small date and large date, the easiest way to tell the difference between the two is the number 8. If you look at the size of the top loop of the 8, you'll notice that on the large date it is much larger. The large dates are much more common. You'll see a lot more of those, but you'll see quite a few small dates as you look around too. But the large dates are typically more common. Now, the 1982 penny among copper penny hoarders can often be overlooked, which is really a shame because probably about 90% of the copper pennies of the 1982 pennies that I come across are copper. There are a couple of very easy ways to tell the difference between the two. Sometimes you can just tell by looking at them. If you've gotten a trained eye, you've been doing it long enough. Sometimes the texture of the copper will look much different than the texture of the zinc. Sometimes you'll actually see a little bit of zinc rot, which this one might have a little bit on the surface. Zinc rot basically being, it will basically look like the zinc underneath is bubbling up through the plating, and that would be considered zinc rot, whereas the copper pennies, of course, are not going to do that. Another easy way to tell, if you don't have maybe a scale handy, which we'll get to in a second, if you don't have any of that, the easiest way to tell the difference between the copper and the zinc is a quick sound check, and basically all you do is you drop the coins on a hard surface. The copper penny has a much nicer ring to it, and the zinc penny is going to be much more dull in the sound that it makes. Hopefully you can hear that well enough through my microphone. But the copper penny sounds much nicer when you drop it. Now, if you're not really confident in the sound test, easiest way to make absolutely sure that your penny is copper or zinc is to get a scale such as this. This is a 600 gram scale, graduates at 0.1 grams, which for this purpose is exactly what we need. So a zinc penny is going to weigh 2.5 grams, and a copper penny is going to weigh 3.1 grams. So we'll go ahead and weigh the zinc penny. And it weighs 2.6, which is within the realm that we need. We'll go ahead and weigh the copper penny. And it weighs 3 grams, which is also within the realm of what we need for copper. It might have maybe 0.1 gram off, but that's fine. If it weighs 3 grams, then you know it's copper. So that's the surefire way to tell. Getting a scale is a must with coin collecting, especially for copper penny collecting. I highly recommend that you grab one. If you're collecting copper, if you're going through boxes of pennies, picking out the copper, do not throw out the 1982 pennies because I guarantee you that most of them will be copper. Plus, if you look into the Cherry Picker's Guide and other resources, the 1982 is a pretty good year for varieties and errors as well. So, I hope this video helped. I know it's simple. I know other YouTubers have done plenty of information about the 1982 pennies, but I wanted to get this out there for anyone who may not know, just for the sake of having the information out there. I appreciate y'all watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and happy hunting.